Breaking news to bring you from Manchester United surrounding one of the biggest deals of the window so far. We're told that Antony is expected to arrive in Manchester today ahead of having a medical and finalising that £85.4 million move from Ajax to Manchester United. Now, a reminder, he has to be registered by midday on Wednesday to be available for United's Premier League game at Leicester City on Thursday. It's thought that at this stage is unlikely as Antony has to sort a visa and work permit. United face Arsenal at Old Trafford on Sunday, so that could be a potential debut for Antony. Also, a development to bring you on Manchester United's pursuit of the Newcastle United goalkeeper Martin Dúbravka. The two clubs remain in talks. Now, we're told that Dúbravka has made it clear to Newcastle that he wants to make the move after falling behind Nick Pope at St James's Park. He's now the number 2 there. This is where it gets slightly more complicated. United want to do a loan with an option which would then become an obligation to buy. That would depend on a certain number of appearances being made by Dúbravka. It's thought the clubs at this stage can't come to an agreement on that figure, so the number of games that would trigger the obligation to buy. So that's where we stand on both Antony and Martin Dúbravka this afternoon here on Transfer Talk. Get in touch if you want to have your say. So Antony is going to be in the country for the £85.4 million move. The medical is happening, set to be sorted out over the coming hours and days. They've been chasing him all window. Michael, we've been talking about overpaying for players on this programme already. Should we be talking about the fee? Should we be talking about how long it's taken United to get this deal done? Or is it simply that because it's happened so late in the window, they've had to pay a premium?
Yeah, they've probably had to pay more because it is so late. Will Ajax be able to get a replacement in time? That's the problem as well. Of course, United have had other targets as well. Frankie de Jong, we've been talking about for the last 2 to 3 months. But look, let's put it on a positive spin. Clearly a very, very good player, and it's clearly someone Erik ten Hag really, really wants at his football club. Yes, they're paying extra, but as I say, what are we now, Dave? 3 days to go. I think the key is now, let's just get this deal done. And if he's a success, like a number of transfers in history, you don't really talk about them when they've gone well, the fee, but you talk about them when they don't go so well. So I think from United fans' point of view now is that this is a manager who wants this player a lot, and he's close to getting him.
If they didn't get him, they'd be getting absolutely slated now. So when they actually are going to get him now, I think it's a bit harsh to criticise the fee and look at it, especially when the money is how it is at the moment. I think just backing the manager and letting the manager have a player that he really, really wants, I think probably Manchester United should just be commended for that, really, at this point.
I mean, he's going to become one of Manchester United's most expensive signings ever when this deal is confirmed, if this deal gets confirmed, which it's looking likely it is now. And when you look at Manchester United's most expensive signings, it doesn't feel like there's too many successes on that list.
No.
Pressure for Antony.
Huge pressure for him. He's clearly a player that Ten Hag has identified with, like Michael says. It's still too soon to judge, and I don't want to sound like I'm just repeating what Michael said, but he makes a valid point, an excellent point. No one will care about how much money is spent on a player if he goes on to become a superstar. And that's what Manchester United are looking for. They're looking for players that can have an impact, that can walk away from Old Trafford in 5-10 years' time having won multiple titles. That's what Manchester United players are judged on. When you leave this football club, are you up there with the likes of Paul Scholes or Gary Neville or Wayne Rooney or Rio Ferdinand? Regardless of how much money that has been spent on you, that's the most important thing. And I did a little bit of research, and we spoke about it on Good Morning Transfers, some of the signings that Manchester United have made, and we've got a graphic that just illustrates this at the moment. Now, when you look at those Manchester United signings, their most expensive signings, how many of those are actually classed as players that have worked out for the football club? Paul Pogba, you could probably say no. He'd argue that he walked away a World Cup winner, so therefore he'd say, well, it was great for me, but for the club certainly wasn't. Lukaku the same. Antony, of course, an asterisk there because it's not been confirmed. Where will he be on the list of success stories down the line? Harry Maguire, you'd argue that he hasn't quite been as effective as they hoped he had been. The same with Jadon Sancho, although I'll just point out he's only 22 years old. There's still time for Jadon to develop. And Casemiro, again, on that list. Now, if you look at the signings that Sir Alex Ferguson made and the players that he signed whilst at Manchester United, and those that went on to become icons and legends at the football club, it's very different to that list. And I think that's the significant thing there is that these players that they're signing, regardless of the money, how many of those will go on to become superstars for that football club?
And I think the price of United spending so far is going to be more than £200 million once this deal gets confirmed for Antony. So that's where it stands at the moment.
But you look at that list though, Dave. I mean, Malacia played really well against Liverpool, didn't he? And I think, wasn't he man of the match? Or you know, they picked him out as one of the best players on the field. Eriksen, for me, I'm sure will have a successful season. Lisandro Martinez had 2 games written off, but then was fantastic against Liverpool and clean sheet against Southampton. Casemiro is a winner. You'd question the fee there maybe with the age and the contract length, but once again, if United go on to finish, they have to, you know, what's it, top 4? I mean, we can debate this all day long, can't we? But last week when they lost to Brentford, I heard they were going to finish in the bottom half. They were going to have a terrible season. But it all changes after a couple of wins, doesn't it?
The thing is, if you look at that, if you had £226 million to go and spend at the start of the transfer window, could you have done better recruitment than what Manchester United have done? That would be the big question. You look at the likes of Jesus, Zinchenko, Nunez, Haaland. Could they have recruited better if they'd had that transfer pot and gone out and identified players? I think the big thing for Manchester United fans is the length of time it's taken to get to where they are now. Yeah. They're in the last knock-ins of the window, so naturally you're going to pay more than what you'd like.
Ajax are a proud club and they're a very well-run club. However, when you're a very, very good player at Ajax, it's rare in this day and age you stay at Ajax for the rest of your career. You're going to go and move on to a club with a lot more money. But do they look at it, their transfer team, their directors, and say, "You took our manager, you've taken our central defender, we're going to keep Antony for now, and we're going to see how we get on until the end of the summer"?
I'd love to know what Manchester United fans think about taking players from the Eredivisie and how many of those players that have come over from that league to the Premier League and had an instant impact and been legends when you look at Premier League players. And I think that might be a slight concern. I'm fascinated to see how this project plays out. And Erik ten Hag has certainly turned things around, which is great for United fans. But will they be where they want to be? And that's in the top 4 minimum.